Hey, everyone. It's Melanie Mack. How's everyone doing? I wanted to come on and just say hello. It's my commitment to myself to jump on this platform and post consistently. And this is definitely a journey. And it's as much as I am out front training, teaching, speaking. This is not something that it's not I'm stepping out of my comfort zone, and I'm being very intentional about stepping out of my comfort zone. And I hope that whoever sees this, that you see this as your permission to come from behind the scenes and share your journey share your journey. Um, so I'm on here just to kind of talk about, like today, I had a very interesting day. I'm in the process of some things with my business, and it is a scary process working to working through partnerships and ego and looking at different power dynamics and seeing if something is best for you. And sometimes you can really want a deal. You can see something and logically it makes sense on paper, it makes sense. And the sometimes the pieces of the puzzle just don't come together like you imagined. Like you imagined it would. And for me, it creates frustration. But at the same time, I was having a conversation with my brother, and I was like, oh, I thought something was going to happen. And it's being delayed, even though I always say delay is never denial. Delay is not denial. And sometimes, not even sometimes, but rejection is God's protection. But in my frustration of a delay that I believe should not be a delay, my brother says to me so calmly, he said, "Don't stress. Don't stress over it. What's for you is for you." And I needed that reminder in that moment. I needed a reminder that, yes, you know what? What's for me is for me. Why am I getting worked up over something that I can't control? I can only put my best forward, not my my best foot forward. I can only uh, present my best proposal as my best self, and pray, as I always do, pray over any sort of uh, business venture or endeavor, deal that I'm considering. And so once I've done that, I really have to remind myself to just let go, let God, and what will be, will be. And so, yeah, today was just one of those days where I, again, snatching the pen snatching the pen out of God's hand. I don't know what I think I'm doing, but I have to remind myself that God is in control no matter what it looks like. God is always in control, and that's not just in business, that's just in life, in general. And so, yeah, I can woosah about this, and what will be is going to be. So but I'm really looking forward to just some exciting things that are happening in my business, things that are happening in the world of artificial intelligence, things that are happening. My industry is the entertainment industry, and I am seeing so many people, so many creatives, so many executives, so many different lanes and verticals within this industry, and how the industry is transforming, and we're experiencing this tectonic shift underneath us. And I believe that it's such a great level set because there's an opportunity that's being created for people who've had really no access or little access to the entertainment industry. This is a time, there's so much disruption happening, and this is a time where there can be ownership of IP. Not that there hadn't been before, but there's more opportunity to come in and control your narrative, to create proofs of concept, to utilize different AI tools to enter this to enter this business on your own terms, to create products, to create digital downloads, to create films, to create scripts, to create all sorts of things. I mean, it's really limitless, and it reminds me of I've been around long enough to see. I've seen the advent of technology. I remember going to the library and utilizing microfiche and doing research and using an encyclopedia or the yellow pages and those kinds of things, and then just to see those things evolve. I remember the launch of Google. Google. I remember the launch of Google, and it's like my kids, and I say my kids, they're adults, but my kids, they don't know a world without Google. But I remember what it was like to have to do that kind of research, and uh, really having to comb through books and canvas and spend time in the library looking up things, or looking through a newspaper and reading different articles and that kind of thing. And how the world has changed. I've seen, I'm thinking before Google came along, I don't even remember, I don't think there was a search engine. And I know it's like Yahoo and Google. Anyway, don't remember. It's so long ago, but how things continually shift and change. And I think about people being hesitant to utilize uh, generative AI and just utilizing the tools that have become available to us. And there is, it's kind of like, I think of it as when Google initially came on the scene. It's kind of like you want to continue using the yellow pages. I mean, you can do that, sure. You can do the yellow pages or the white pages or encyclopedias. You can continue to do that sort of thing. But Google, I just remember being able to go on and I lived in Europe, but I just remember being able to utilize Google I remember it was a big deal being able to see museums all over the world and see these images and tour. This was during the launch of Google. So I equate it to this time that we're in now where some people are still, saying, but I want to use the yellow pages. I want to use an encyclopedia. I don't want to utilize Google. I was not in school at the time of, Google. I mean, I'd long since, been out, but there, I do remember teachers and professors saying that if students were utilizing Google, they were cheating. And I think about that now with, things like ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity. I I don't even use Google anymore. I use Perplexity. But when I think about the tools that are available now and professors kind of saying that same narrative of, oh, sharing with their students that if you're utilizing these tools, are you learning? Are you doing proper research and those kinds of things? And it just reminds me of the days of the launch of Google. Same thing. Oh, Google is terrible. Don't use it. You're cheating. You should go to the library and do your research. Well, eventually, everyone was on Google. And you look at platforms like YouTube, for example. YouTube is the number two, like if you're searching for anything, YouTube is the number two search engine in the world. Number two, second in the world. Pretty incredible. And to be able to utilize these tools, I mean, we have these tools at our fingertips. There are so many things that can be created and explored. And I'm really excited about that. And I like to think that I'm an early adopter when it comes to technology. I love learning and being able to apply new tools to my business, to my life, to share with clients, to share with family members, friends as I'm learning different things. But yeah, I embrace it. And it doesn't mean that, and just because I embrace it, it doesn't mean um, that I'm not considerate of the guardrails that should be in place. Of course, I think about those things, but I also think about how can we really maximize the tools to effectively implement uh, business ideas, to uh, implement creativity, to uh, accelerate repetitive task, things that uh, maybe we need an admin person for. There are so many things that can be done. Uh, and oh gosh, it's mind blowing to me. But I'm just thankful that these things exist, these tools exist, that they are accessible. And I would like more of us to get on the bandwagon. I don't want anyone to be left behind when it comes to technology and advancing one's career. I mean, right now I'm utilizing YouTube, and I remember when YouTube launched. And I think about my mom always has this funny thing about telling people that I invented YouTube. I did not invent YouTube. However, one of my first serious business, I raised money for and launched, and it was a .com, and this was in the late 90s. And it was so much fun. It was exhilarating just to create something a platform where it was an urban portal where people could come together, this destination, and see some of their favorite shows, and me being a television development executive, being able to use the business model of television, or the then business model of television, which still exists today in terms of just the basics of when you're launching a network, you're taking existing content that has a built-in audience, eyeballs. You're putting that existing content onto the network because people are going to watch. And as you're building up that viewership, you then begin to, you're attracting advertisers. You then begin to produce original content. And as you produce the original content, you have the balance of that existing built-in audience, and then you're bringing new eyeballs. You're leveraging those eyeballs with the original content that you're creating. And so back in the 90s, when I was able to do that online, it was exhilarating. And when I tell you, being able to raise capital to launch my business and to employ people that were in, so incredibly talented and gifted, and bring them onto my team at that time. And I was in my 20s. It was the best experience. And it taught me that anything is possible. That's probably the most challenging thing that I've done in business, is creating a business of my own, my first business. But once I did it, like once you do it, once you do it, you'll always know that you can create something for yourself. You do not have to be beholden to a job. And I know that people are unemployed, and that this market right now is the job market is tough. Hearing that people have been submitting, hundreds of resumes and not receiving a response, unemployment rates being high. I also think about, this is a great time to think about the knowledge that you already have, things and skills that you already have within you. And you can build something from that. You can build something that you can sell, whether it's a digital asset, whether it's a book, whether it's teaching someone how to do what you know how to do, teaching that and sharing that. This is a great time to do so. And I learned that early on, and I'm so thankful that I learned that early on, that I could be the captain of my own ship, that I could chart my own course. And Lord, I'm not taking, I'm not snatching the pen out of your hand, but charting your own course. And again, I always say that jobs are not inheritable assets. And seeing so many people lose their jobs when they have given years to companies, given their ideas, intellectual property, IP, when they've given their IP, when they've given their sweat equity to companies, and then they are just casually dismissed, furloughed, laid off, whatever the case is. You Jobs are not inheritable assets. And no matter how great a job is, it's not legacy. It's not something that you can pass on to your children. No matter how good or great you are at a job and working for a company, you cannot pass that on to, you can't pass it on to a family member, a friend, but you can create things that are inheritable assets. And that is creating products, creating things that you actually own, services, products, digital products. There are a number of things. So let this be your sign. I just wanted to jump on and spend a little time, but let this be your sign that, listen, when I launched my first business, I raised 1,500,000 without knowing how to write a business plan. I wrote a business plan. I bought a book and wrote a plan and pitched it. I received 30 rejections. 30 people said no. And my idea was simply that people would watch content on their computers. I'm simplifying it, but people would watch content on their computers. And I pitched that and pitched it and pitched it. And yeah, the answer was no. But at the end of the day, I raised 1,500,000 in my 20s without the tools that are available and accessible today. So let this be your sign. If this video finds you, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. Take a chance on yourself, bet on yourself, own your power. This is the season to do so. Be blessed, be well, and I'll talk to you next time.